from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to look at Apple's latest operating system for mobile devices, iOS 6. We're going to check it out on iPhone 4 so we can see how it runs on kind of older hardware, almost 2 years old now, and on the new iPad. So iOS 6 is the latest operating system from Apple, and it's available for download right now today. Yes, you can get it. It's free if you have an iPhone 3GS, an iPhone 4, or an iPhone 4S. Now, if you're going to get yourself the brand new iPhone 5, that comes preloaded with this new operating system, so you're all good to go. Don't have to do a darn thing. And if you have the new iPad or the latest generation iPod Touch, you can also download it and install it. So we're not going to go over every single feature of the operating system again. There's enough videos about that. We've done reviews, you know what that is. We're just going to show you some of the newest features that are pretty cool. Since this is just an iPhone 4, not an iPhone 4S, we don't get Siri on this, and we don't get the panoramic Photoshop, but if you do have an iPhone 4S, you can look forward to panorama shots and, of course, any upgrades to Siri that are available. New for the new iPad is Siri. Press and hold, and you can tell Siri to do all sorts of things. This is really, actually, quite enjoyable. I want to see a sci-fi movie.
I found quite a number of sci-fi movies.
And I can tap on one of these and get information right in the little window here. That's pretty cool. And what if I have another thing I want to tell Siri? Take a note. Don't forget to make a video review of the new iPhone 5.
Got it.
Pretty handy, right? So that's Siri. I know some people, they complain about Siri not being absolutely perfect, but that's one of the best speech recognition tools I have seen so far on a mobile device. And now you have it on your iPad too, not just on your iPhone. Also, newer maps. Apple has tossed away Google Maps. I wonder why that is. They're not quite getting along with Google these days, and they've come up with their own mapping solution. And you know, it's hard to let go of Google Maps. It's pretty good stuff, even if it doesn't get updated for the iPhone and iPad as often as it does for Android devices. But I have to say, Apple's done a pretty good job. And we'll take a look. Right now we've got our view of the Eiffel Tower up in standard view mode there, and we'll bring it up on the iPhone as well. And on the iPad we have the standard view of the area around the Eiffel Tower over here. And we're leaving it that so you can see that's the pin that tells you that's the Eiffel Tower. And here's our POIs. So that's one thing that Google does certainly quite well, and we're happy to see that there's a nice selection of POIs over here. And let's find out about this lovely place to dine, and we can get more information. We can get driving directions, but since it's an awful long way to Paris from Texas, it's going to tell us that it can't do that. But it can give us information about this restaurant. You can call it, all that kind of thing. Obviously, you can't call it directly from your iPad, but if on the iPhone, you could. And here on the iPhone, you can see we have the new satellite view. Pinch zoom in. It's kind of a cloudy day in New York when they took this. You can panorama around. You can get all 3D with it. Nice mapping solution. And if we switch to standard view, again, a lot of POIs, and these may be more familiar to you folks who haven't had the luxury of spending too much time in Paris. And we can see schools, we can see places to eat, lots of POIs, lots of information there, and places to stay. Let's find out about that. The Herald Square Hotel. We can get driving directions to it as always. Still a long drive for us. We can call them, we can go straight to their website. So definitely a viable mapping solution, and I'm no longer worried about giving up my Google Maps on the iPhone or the iPad. It seems to be working out pretty well so far. Well, I'd love to see how this evolves in the future. Probably Apple has some good things in store. Nextly, we have some new settings options right here. You can see on both of these devices we actually have Do Not Disturb. It's interesting, there's actually Do Not Disturb on the iPad as well, but that's good because you don't want notifications at 3 a.m. about some new email, because you're certainly not going to check your email at 3 a.m. At least I hope you're not. And you can see here's our Do Not Disturb function right there. And we have it right here. And for the iPhone, there's new calling features. If somebody calls in, instead of having some global setting that sends a text message to people if you can't pick up the phone, you can do that one by one in the call. You can reject the call, you can send them a text message with a variety of canned replies or whatever custom replies that you set, and you can set yourself a reminder to call them back later, which is pretty handy. really cool are the improvements to the App Store. And I have to say, it actually reminds me of Android's Google Play Store a little bit. No more you download app one by one, it boots you out of the store, then you go back in and you update your next app or download your next app. Now you get to stay in there and a whole lot more, and we'll take a look at that. And now here we are in the App Store on both devices, and right here you can see that we have YouTube up right now. That's because YouTube is no longer pre-installed. You have to download that separately. It's a free download, at least you can still get it, but not pre-installed. We have already installed it, and you can see there are some other suggested matches right here. And once you've downloaded something, you see there's an open. And while it is downloading, you can continue to thumb through here. And we'll show you a little bit bigger screen here. We wanted Evernote. Notice how we're staying in here, and I can go search for other stuff if I want to, or say maybe, oh, I want Sketch. I'm going to update that while I'm here. So there we have a much more modern and pleasing way of presenting the applications. And not only that, well, it doesn't feel so old-fashioned anymore. Like I said, you don't feel like you're doing it one by one, and you can just browse around to your heart's content. And let's see, we want to get into the YouTube player now. And we download it here, we just hit open. And there's our YouTube player. And that works same as it always did, so we're not going to bother showing you that. And here are our newly downloaded apps, and now we have a little new banner across the corner, and it helps us find it, which is pretty handy if you have a whole bunch of apps installed like we do. Other new features include Photo Stream. Now that's not unique among smartphones or tablets certainly, but it's still a handy thing to have. You take a picture with your iPhone or with your iPad or a video and you want to share it just with selected people over iCloud. Now they have to have either an iOS 6 device or they have to have a Mac running Mountain Lion to do that, but then you can share pictures without having to whip out that glorious USB cable and sync to iTunes just to get your pictures off and share them or email them around, things like that. Kind of a streamlined way. Also, there's FaceTime now over cellular. Now, we know AT&T, and they're going to make you actually get a different data plan if you want to use that. But with other carriers, so far, they're not doing that, so you don't have to run around and look for Wi-Fi anymore if you want to FaceTime back home or with your business associates. And there's a new app called Passbook. Now, Passbook is sort of like Keyring, one of those reward programs. You can keep track of all your little Keyring reward things, and you can also do things like book airplane tickets, get boarding passes, get coupons sent to you. So I'm sure Apple will be making a whole lot of deals with a whole lot of companies to get coupons flowing to your devices and to get all the loyalty cards stored in here. But it's a handy-dandy one-stop way, and it goes beyond things like Keyring rewards by doing things like letting you book tickets and looking at your boarding passes. And for those of you who are Facebook people, there is also Facebook integration built into the operating system, a lot like Windows Phone 7 and the upcoming Windows Phone 8 that has very heavy social networking integration into contacts. And of course, some manufacturers like HTC particularly and Samsung to a certain extent have also worked to integrate social networking into your contacts, into your calendar. And now with iOS, you've got at least got the Facebook component there, so in your calendar, if you wish, you can see birthdays and events that come from Facebook, and you can see those same birthdays in contacts as well. And if you want to post to Facebook, it's really easy now. If you've got a picture, you can just tap and hold on it and shoot it right to Facebook without having to go through extra steps. So that's some of the key features in iOS 6 on the iPhone and the iPad. We can't cover every feature of these operating systems, but I think many of you are familiar with them already. So if you're looking to get yourself a brand new device, or maybe you just don't have the huge bucks it takes to shell out off contract for a new iPhone 5, and you're looking on the used market, you can see what you can look forward to, still getting the latest and greatest operating system from Apple for mobile devices. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.